Hi, everyone. I'm Paul with MadCap Software. This is the first video in this series for sites in MadCap Central. And so this video is all about creating sites, where you begin with this. So what are these things? Well, you have your Flare projects, you upload them to Central, and you can build output. All right, so once you build output, how do you make this accessible to people? How do you get it into their hands? Well, you do this through sites, but it's more than just saying, hey, here's a URL. It's a set of it's a group of settings basically around this output. So you make certain decisions, like what do you want the URL to be, the final URL? Do you want this to be live? Do you want it to be available to the general public or only to a certain group of people? So there's these options plus others. And so you do this by creating a site and linking that site with that specific output that you want to make accessible. Like I said, this is the first video in this series. After this, we're going to take a look at, after creating a site, we'll have videos on making something live or rolling back to the next video after that is rolling back to a previous live output when maybe there was a mistake in the newest thing that you put out there. How to make private output so that you're limiting who can see this stuff. There's also themes. We're going to look at having certain color scheme available, and this is really useful when you have private output. And there's also a video on URLs, vanity URLs, and host map domain, so you can control the URL. So all those videos are available. We're going to start by taking a look at creating a new site in this video. Okay, so we're in this license, and the first thing you got to do is make sure you have the right permissions. So go to your user settings and then come down to permissions. And what you're looking for is the manage sites permission right there. So as long as you have that, you can create these sites and edit them. All right, so I've got that. Now what I need to do is make sure that I've got output for a particular project. So in this video, let's go to this project right here, Flare project that I've uploaded. And let's go to the builds page. You can see I've got lots of outputs in here. Let's just take a look at this and see what we've got. Well, if you look at the target itself, we've got this online combination course. There's several outputs for that. There's another output for this target called online course with tests. There's also this target called Chum. We're going to deal with this online combination course. So this particular Flare project is an e-learning project. I mean, it's set up to produce some e-learning courses. And so there is this one right here. Now, I also have multiple branches in this particular project. Maybe you are working with branches, maybe you're not. If you are not, then it's always going to be master. You're always going to be in the master branch. But it's branching is a really, really cool, useful thing for Flare authors. I have a separate video series for MadCap Flare. So you go to the MadCap software website, look for the Flare videos, and there's a series of videos on source control. So it's all about source control, and there's videos on branching in there. If you really want to dive into branching, I would highly recommend it. It's a really cool thing. Okay, so I do have multiple branches in here besides just master, and I have built output for this for a branch for the feature 1 branch that I created, and also for a release branch that I created, and for a feature 2 branch that I created. Not only that, but if we look over here, most of these outputs were generated directly from Central. You can see the Central logo in there, but some of these, like this one at the top, I published directly from Flare. Okay, so that one from the feature 2 branch, directly from Flare. So I can make any of these live, any of these accessible to people. So what we want to do now that we know that we have some output, because if you haven't generated output yet, you got nothing to share with people. What we want to do first of all is come over here on the left to sites. And you're going to see I already created some sites in here for some of these other projects. If we go back to the projects page, you're going to see I've got some projects called Module 1, there's Module 4, Module 5, 2, and 3 are down there. And so if we come back here, you can see, oh, I created some sites that have to do with the Module 1 project in here and the Module 2 project. So these outputs, these sites are connected to some outputs. And you look here and you see these are live, which means they're out there for the whole world to see, basically, except for this one right here is live, but it's also private. Okay, so there's only certain people that are able to go in and see that output, but it is live for those people. All right, that's what we're dealing with here. Now, I want to create a new site. So I'm just going to click this plus button right here, and I'm going to give it a name. Now, mine is for this, this Flare project online combination course. So I just want to give it a name that lets me know what this is about. So I'm just going to say Flare project, and then I'm just going to say combo. I know what it's about. Okay, let's work our way down in this dialog. So domain and vanity. So this is going to be your URL. All right, that's what these fields have to deal with. But I have a separate video later in this series on vanities and hosted map domains. And so we're going to worry about this later. Right now, we're just going to keep the default domain that's provided by MadCap Central. So in this example, I have logged in. My license is called FictionSoft Inc. And so the domain provided by Central is mcoutput.com. Mine says mcoutputqa.com because I happen to be on just a QA server in our company, but yours would say mcoutput.com. All right, so that's how it would begin. FictionSoft Inc.mcoutput.com, and then whatever the rest of the path is to your output. And we're not going to go into more than that, the vanity or anything else. Site theme, I have another video later on themes. So we're just going to skip this for now. We're not going to specify a theme. Site trusted domain. All right, I'm going to interrupt this video just for a second. Since the time I originally recorded that video, there's been a change in here. This field right here, you're going to see it's called Site Content Security Policy. So what this is about is this tab right up here, that page. So click on Security, and you can create your own content security policies with the idea that these things will help keep your hosted output on Central as secure as possible. And there are all kinds of things that you can create. Like here, I have JavaScript policy, plugins, trusted domains, and many more that you could create. These are in addition to the security headers that Central provides automatically out of the box. So you can just add whatever policies you need to keep your hosted output secure. I have an additional video that I did on this, and I'll put a link in the description. If you want to learn more about that, you can check it out. All right, so the next field is really important because now we're talking about your build. What's the exact output that's going to be connected to this site? So you click on this, and you have to go through and select project and target, and these different elements you need to kind of drill down. So we'll click first on project, and we're dealing with this Flare project right here. Okay, so next I go click on target. What's the target? All right, it's this one, online combination course in our example. Now the next thing has to do with branches, which I've briefly talked about. And you can leave this set on any branch, which means that the next field, the build, will display builds from any branches. And you saw that I had generated output from multiple branches. So it would show all of those. But you could click in this and you could limit it to only the output choices to only a certain branch. So for example, right now I have it set to, got to go right back and start over. I clicked out of it accidentally. That's okay. Get back real quick. So I left it at any branch. Well, once I click in that, you're going to see I have options here for all of these outputs. Notice that each one of these has an ID. So that's what you saw in that builds page. The ID started off that row, and these are unique. So you will be able to tell, oh, this is the last one that I did, okay? But I don't know which branch these are for. It could be any of these. Well, so if you want to leave it selected on any branch, you can, but you might want to go in and specify one. Now, when I am publishing output, if it's my final output ready for the general public, I'll select the master branch. That video series that I talked about on source control and branching that's in Flare, I use this get flow method where master that's the purpose of it. It's the purpose is this is the output. It's all done, ready for anybody. But these other branches, feature 2, feature 1, release, these are things that are, especially feature 1, feature 2, these are things that are in development. And I might select one of these if I want to make my output private. All right. So just people within my company, in my case, MadCap Software, I only want them to see this stuff that's under development. So then I might select a branch that's a feature branch. Okay. In this example, let's just select master. All right. And come down here. And I only have one build in here. Now you can select latest build, or you can select a specific build. Here's my recommendation. When you are selecting output that is intended to just be published to your audience, your customers, I would select a specific build. Because what happens is if you select latest build, if you come in there into your projects page later and you generate some output, and that's whatever you generate successfully is going to be the latest build, and it'll take the place of what came before it. Well, when you're dealing with output that's final, that's available for the general public, you may not want that because that output might have mistakes in it. You haven't viewed it and decided that, yeah, this is ready to go. So I would select, in this case, a specific build. So I'm just going to select that one. Now that's all set. All right. Now I am going to leave the rest of these not selected for now because we have videos on these, setting things as live, setting them as private, and I'm just going to click save. Okay, so this brings up the profile. This creates a profile for that site, and it gives you all kinds of information in here about it. All right, all the stuff that you selected. And then it also gives you this option over here on the left, teams. So you can go click edit and select a team that goes with that output. So the reason why this was really created is for private outputs, which I'm going to get to in another video. So I'm not going to select a team now. My idea is, hey, I'm not going to limit the output to be seen by a certain team. I want the whole world to be able to see this. It's created, and I'm not going to do anything else in here for now. I'm just going to click cancel, and there it is. There is my site. And I haven't set it as live yet. It's all users. Everybody can see it. I can click on it to expand it, to see more information just real quickly about this thing, the name and what's the target and the build, the site ID in here, the build ID, and whether it's live, what's the vanity URL. So for now, this URL right here, you could click this and that would take you to the actual output, but I haven't made it live. So the URL is going to get more and more refined as we go through these other videos. But for now, there it is. There is the site. It is created. What we're going to do next, the next video in this series, is we're going to take a site and we're going to make it live and talk a little bit about that. So I'll see you in that video.